I am a little tiny bit sick right now. I'm a lot better than I was earlier this week, but my voice is currently not 100%, so I'm not working on the next episode of the Backlog right now, which is Battlefield 3. However, I am going to do something just to fill the void. I've never really done too many videos on this channel that deal directly talking about me and what I like. So I figured, why not do a top 10 list of my favorite video games? Because obviously this is a channel that has video games surrounding it. Machinima is making movies with video games, and I'm doing the Backlog now, which is a show where I go through video games I own but haven't played. So I think this is an ideal topic, and it's definitely one that I've wanted to do for a while now. I actually was just looking through my my videos folder, and I found one for my top 5 games. I found a script, and I said, nah, fuck it. Basically, I'm going to be doing what I'm going to be doing for the Backlog now, for this video, and it's that I'm going to basically write down my main points, or at least in this case, write down the games, and I'm going to just talk about them completely freely, with very little editing in this case, because I just kind of want to get something out there, something that's very real. But I'm wasting your guys' time. These are my top 10 favorite video games of all time so far. Number 10, Rock Band 3. Now, I know it's weird for someone to say a rhythm or music-based game is one of their favorite games of all time, because it's not deep. The concept is very simple. But I do enjoy Rock Band, and I also enjoy Guitar Hero, although to a lesser extent. Rock Band, I feel, is the superior music game in that department. I think Rock Band's the ultimate party game, at least Rock Band 3, because you can have 7 people playing it. You can have one person on keys, you can have one person on guitar and bass, one person on guitar, one person on bass, one person on drums, and then you can have 3 vocalists. The vocalists don't get any points, they don't count for anything, but it's still there. It's still a really fun party game. It's got music that's for everyone. They have music that runs the gamut of genres. And as opposed to Guitar Hero, Rock Band's, their how they compose the music for how you actually play it, the color buttons, it's a lot more accurate, especially with finger placement and movements. Both these games, Rock Band and Guitar Hero, have introduced me to a lot of music, a lot of artists, a lot of songs I really wouldn't have cared too much for previously. And amazingly, they actually got me into playing bass, which actually, if you'll hold on a second, I'll grab my current bass, my electric. This is the Rogue VB100 violin bass. It is designed after the Hofner that Paul McCartney used during his time with the Beatles. I absolutely love playing bass. I haven't done it much recently. I play something right now, but it's not tuned, and I don't feel like tuning it right now. But rest assured, I do love this thing. I actually got this as my own birthday present. Musiciansfriend.com sent me like a 20% off coupon, and I decided to take advantage of it. So I got this for like 170 bucks, and it's nice for 170 bucks. It sounds really nice. But that's not why you're watching this video. You want to know the rest of my all-time favorite games. So, yeah, and sorry about the creaky chair. In short, Rock Band 3 has introduced me to a lot of things, and if either my TV is the problem or the controllers are the problem now because they've aged. The controller I use is from Guitar Hero World Tour. That came out 7 years ago. Holy shit. Yeah, I'd play it more if I could. I can't wait for Rock Band 4. Number 9. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Now, this is a game I haven't really played that much. I mean, I've beaten it, and I really enjoy it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on this list. But Metal Gear Rising is just one of those games where it really clicked with me. The gameplay, it feels so nice. Sorry, like I said, I'm still a little bit sick. The gameplay just feels so nice to me. It feels so smooth. It provides an adequate challenge. It got a bit crazy at times, but there is a challenge there. It's a very nice challenge. What makes this game for me really is the music. The soundtrack to this game is absolutely incredible. It's mixing metal, speed metal, with like a tiny little bit of wub-wubs from dubstep, which I don't like dubstep, and mixing electronica in there, and it's mixing all these elements, and it sounds so awesome. I have no idea how they got it to come together so well, but I absolutely adore it. And honestly, the gameplay is so fluid. The story is pretty good too. My only complaint against it though is that it's not that long. It's something you can easily beat in about 6 hours, which makes me thankful that I did not buy the game. Frank actually gave it to me. You know, Frank, he plays, who else? Frank on Lost in Reach. He gave me his copy of Revengeance for the 360, and I'm grateful for that because it was a fun ride. Fun fact, it was summer of last year I was going to start making the backlog for Channel Awesome's, you know, the South Channel Awesome. They were doing a casting call to find new talent, and I was going to do it with a new show called The Backlog, and I recorded my first playthrough of Metal Gear Rising for it. And I had a very strong opinion of the game. I really liked it. That was going to be my audition, but I didn't feel confident in the idea, and I didn't do it. But now I'm doing the backlog, and who knows, maybe if they do have an audition, I will give it a shot. But that's beside the point. Metal Gear Rising is not expensive. It is a very fun game. It is a very simple game with an awesome soundtrack and a pretty damn good story. If you're worried that it is bogged down too much in the Metal Gear mythos, don't, because it barely has any standing connections to the rest of the Metal Gear series. So if you've played Metal Gear Solid 2 and 4 at least, 1, 2, and 4, then you'll know a few more extra things, but you don't have to play them, and it just helps it be really accessible. If you're looking for a good hack and slash game on the cheap, get Metal Gear Rising. Number 8. Halo 2. I think it's kind of weird, seeing as this channel is mostly Halo stuff. Well, the main content is based on Halo, technically. It's funny that Halo 2, because I'm only having franchises represented by one game on this list, so you won't see like Halo 3 or Metal Gear Solid 2. I haven't even beaten Metal Gear Solid 2. Or another Rock Band on here. I'm just keeping it to one game to a franchise. But Halo 2 is definitely my favorite Halo. I think the story is the most interesting. You've got the plight of humanity when the Covenant finally comes to Earth, as well as the story of the Arbiter, seeing everything from the perspective of someone in the Covenant whose world is falling apart, seeing the Covenant start to almost tear itself at the seams and show weakness, and see the great schism of that Covenant occur. Halo 2 is a first-person shooter that I feel has a terrific story, and the Arbiter is a terrific character, and he has a great character arc. I love Halo 2's multiplayer as well. It is, honestly, I could almost say it's my favorite Halo multiplayer, but honestly, I think right now that's Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer, which I guess it counts. It's great that 343 tried to bring Halo 2 multiplayer back with Master Chief Collection. Unfortunately, it just feels a bit off. And it might be the frame rate, you know, making things smoother, and it responds differently because of that. But my opinion on Halo 2 Anniversary, graphically and audibly, because they remastered the soundtrack, I find the original to be better. I find the Anniversary version of a lot of the Earth stuff, at least in Halo 2 Anniversary, to be a bit too clean and a bit too saturated, particularly in oranges. I think that the more dull colors of the original Halo 2 on the Xbox suited the game so much better. but that's just me. I absolutely adore Halo 2, and among my group of friends that really enjoys Halo, only one of them shares that opinion with me. The rest of them, it's either Halo 3 or Halo Reach, and to each their own. Halo Reach is a fine game, Halo 3 is a phenomenal game, but it hits Halo 2 for me. Number 7. Sonic CD. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, I absolutely love platformers. If you give me a platformer, I will try it. There are very few platformers I dislike. The only one I really cannot get into so far that I've played has been Little Big Planet. I've owned it, I'm trying, but that's not the focus here. Sonic CD, and now, it was between this and Sonic 1. Because I enjoy Sonic 2, I enjoy Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And and that's just from the retros. I also enjoy Sonic Adventure, and I enjoy Sonic Adventure 2, and I even enjoy Sonic 06. I know it's a terrible game, and I will never say it's a good game. The most positive thing I'm ever going to say about Sonic 06 is that it's not as bad as people say, but it's still bad. I enjoyed Sonic Unleashed, I enjoyed Sonic Colors, I really enjoyed Generations, but Sonic CD is my favorite Sonic game. I love the level design, I love the soundtrack. The Japanese soundtrack is beautiful. I think I need to move the camera a bit. There we go. The Japanese soundtrack is absolutely beautiful. I love how the game plays. It's not too long, it's not too short, it looks beautiful. I like the time traveling mechanic, I like Metal Sonic, I like the opening and closing cinematics. It's so nicely done. It's the best game on the Sega CD, a lot of people claim, but then again, the Sega CD really didn't have too much that was worth playing. It was the graveyard of FMV games, as people call it. But if you're looking to get into Sonic games, I wouldn't say Sonic CD is the best place to start. It's not a very accurate representation of the series, but I would say that it's definitely something worth checking out, because for a while, you had to really go out of your way to play it. You had to get the Sonic Gems collection on the GameCube. You had to emulate it. But it was like 2011 that I think it was the Taxman. I think that's his alias, the Taxman. He did remakes of Sonic 1 and I think 2 for iOS, which I haven't played. I don't do mobile phone games. But he remade Sonic CD with a new engine, and it plays so much better. It's just so great, and I love that Sega commissioned him to do that. So if you like 2D platformers and you love 2D Sonic, even 3D Sonic, definitely check out Sonic CD. Number 6. Tony Hawk's Underground. Now, for those of you who have seen the first episode of the Backlog, you'll know that I'm a fan of the Tony Hawk series, and like I've been playing them recently. I recently acquired all of the games up to American Wasteland, and I've been playing them every little bit. Funny enough, the one I actually haven't played since I got them was Underground 2, which is the first Tony Hawk game I played, so go figure. I honestly, Pro Skater 1, not Pro Skater, Underground 1 is still my favorite. The mechanics are very, very fluid, although they have aged a little tiny bit. They still work. But I love, they bring in enough to the game to make it new and to warrant a new name. They let you get off the board. They let you do new things. There's an actual, more coherent story than in Pro Skater 4, which I just started playing again. It's still tons of fun. I love Pro Skater 4. But the story in Underground is an interesting story about trying to really make it, trying to maintain friendships, how it feels to be betrayed, and then overcoming the odds and adversity against you. It's I'm not gonna say it's the tale of the century. It's an almost cookie cutter story, but it works. The customization there is really nice. The performances in it are fair. It's not like it's a budget game, a fair bit of money was put into it. I like the soundtrack. Queens of the Stone Age are on the soundtrack with their song, You Think I Ain't Worth a Dollar, But I Feel Like a Millionaire. That song that was in the T-Mobile ads and Battlefield Bad Company 2 ads. I love that song. Yeah, Underground, it really, I can't remember if it added anything. I think it added maybe a wall plant. I really can't remember what game mechanics that Underground 1 added, but I love how it looks. I love the locale. I like how it feels a bit more realistic. But Underground 1 is a very nice experience, and it's when I think of favorite Tony Hawk game, I always think of Underground. So there you go. Number 5. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. Now, this was one of the first games to go when I discovered EB Games. Now, I regret that decision because while there is an HD collection that had Budokai 1 and 3, the soundtracks have been completely replaced because of a plagiarism dispute with Kenji Yamamoto, who is the composer for the Budokai series. But it still doesn't change how Budokai 3 plays, because it plays phenomenally. Budokai 1 was a bit too basic and it was a bit too stiff. Budokai 2 still had that same problem. Budokai 3 overhauled it, just completely overhauled it, and made it a very kinetic, frantic, fast, fluid game. And it's one of my favorite fighting games. I was honestly considering putting Tenkaichi 2 on here, because I really love Tenkaichi 2. I haven't really played Tenkaichi 3. I really want to get my hands on it. But Budokai 3 feels like a very nice step in the proper direction of that series. I don't know how Infinite World, the true direct sequel, plays, because I've never owned Infinite World. By the time I knew about its existence, I think I already got rid of my first PS2. But Budokai 3 is just so nicely crafted. The story mode where you fly around to the locations, while not as good as Budokai 1 story mode with the full-fledged real-time cutscenes, it's still a really, really nice way to do a single-player mode in Dragon Ball Z, because you feel that you can really go anywhere on the planet. You can find the Dragon Balls. You can just sort of coast around, or you can just like go at blazing speeds. What they actually added to the fight mechanics as well, allowing you to deflect energy blasts, actually have beam struggles by moving the analog sticks, and being able to teleport behind your opponent. Just all of that feels so nice. It feels so nice. And they revamped the key system, they added the Dragon Rush, they changed how ultimate attacks work. It's just a really nice experience. If you love Dragon Ball Z and you have not played Budokai 3, I implore you, if you have a PS3 or an Xbox 360 or even a PS2, get Budokai HD Collection, or if you got the PS2, Budokai 3, you will not regret it. Number 4. Fallout New Vegas. Now, I've been playing a lot of New Vegas recently, mainly because I installed the mod Fallout Who Vegas, which is a Doctor Who add-on. But I've been playing New Vegas a lot more recently, and I really love the mechanics of New Vegas over Fallout 3. I still like Fallout 3, I just prefer New Vegas. It feels more refined to me. I prefer the Mojave, which has a bit more color. It's actually feels a bit more populated. It gives me a bit more hope that there will be a nice future ahead. I prefer the story too, because in Fallout 3, you're not really given much choice over what happens. I mean, oh, will you poison the water supply to kill anything irradiated, which basically is everything? Or are you not going to do that? Are you going to send your companion to shut it off, or are you going to go in and shut off the thing? With New Vegas, you basically do get 4 choices on how you go through the game. Are you going to side with the NCR, Caesar's Legion, Mr. House, or are you going to go it yourself and do an independent Vegas? And basically you're hitting the same story beats no matter who you choose, but then when you get to the 3rd act, the big battle, it feels like it changes. And story-wise, everything does change. Are you going to be very militaristic, and you're going to try to take over the entirety of the Mojave and Vegas to bring in taxes and support the people in your way, to bring government in order to the post-war world? Are you going to be a legion of slavers who believe in power through strength, and having a bunch of rape and having only humans, and basically women are second-class citizens? The Roman Empire. Are you gonna work and have Mr. House turn New Vegas into a superpower, or are you going to just tell everyone to fuck off and leave the Mojave as its own thing and have New Vegas be its own self-sustaining entity? It's an interesting thing. And then there's the DLCs, which I've yet to complete. I've played Dead Money and I played Honest Hearts. I've never completed Old World Blues, and I've never touched Lonesome Road, but apparently they have a really nice story, which ultimately, I think the ultimate theme is let the past go, which I think for various instances, for various parts of New Vegas, particularly quest lines, I think it's a very interesting ideal, because the NCR is very much like, oh, we want to bring everything back to what it used to be before the war and have government, kind of like the Enclave in Fallout 2 and 3. Sorry. Do you want to be like the Legion, where, or the Legion, I'm sorry, where they very much want things to go back to the way old world, with the Roman Empire, and see what happened there? Do you want Mr. House, this pre-war businessman who sustained himself past when the bombs fell, to basically just be a business tycoon and just wreak havoc like that, kind of like what a lot of things are going on with today? Or do you want to fight for, hey, let's make progress and let's keep, this independent entity independent? And there are a bunch of other ideals at play in various side quests and these interesting stories that I could go on about. But I'd be here forever, and I've already talked a while about New Vegas. It's a fun game. It's still buggy, even now, even though they've put in a lot of fixes, but I still enjoy it. Number 3. Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. It was a really tough choice between this and Birth by Sleep Final Mix, but the reason I chose Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix was because there's a ton more content in it, and even though I prefer the story to Birth by Sleep, I prefer the content of KH2FM, but it's an interesting thing. I like Vanilla Kingdom Hearts 2, I found it inferior to Vanilla Birth by Sleep and even Vanilla Kingdom Hearts 1. In terms of things to do outside of the main story, at least compared to Kingdom Hearts 1. Because Kingdom Hearts 1, you had various side quests like the Dalmatians, and the Trinities. In Kingdom Hearts 2, there was the Colosseum, which I didn't like as much as Kingdom Hearts 1. And I found Sephiroth to be too easy. And Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, I actually put it on an emulator first, just before they announced HD 2.5 Remix, which I do have. It's on my shelf, which you cannot see. But the stuff they add to the Final Mix, there's just so much. They add in the Data 13, they add in various new cutscenes that help expand the story. They added in a story boss fight with Roxas. And they added the Cavern of Remembrance. They added Limit Form. They added the Lingering Will. And the Mushroom 13, it's enough to give me several more hours out of my game, and they give you reasons to level up your drive forms, which I always did that anyway in Vanilla Kingdom Hearts 2. There's plenty more to do in it. The combat feels even more fluid now with the addition of some new moves. The data battles with Organization 13 are really difficult, and they're challenging, but they're rewarding, and they don't ever feel cheap. They're just insanely difficult, but each one's got its own strategy. You just really have to watch out for it. Same with the Lingering Will. The Lingering Will, the secret boss, is ridiculous, but if you stick to it and you really experiment with how to fight him, you can do it. And when you finally beat him, you just this calm just comes over you, just like, oh, and it just feels so nice. I remember the first time I beat the Lingering Will, it was a huge moment for me. And of course, you got to unlock the Birth by Sleep secret cutscene, which I feel as though is a great secret ending. It looks beautiful. The song, I think it was Darkness of the Unknown? Fate of the Unknown, that's it. Fate of the Unknown is a really beautiful track. Especially, the music in the HD remix version of Final Mix is just gorgeous, too. I mean, I love Cavern of Remembrance's theme before, but now it's... Oh man, it almost makes me cry just how beautiful it is. I love playing Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. If you get me started on it, then you won't see me for a week. I'll just be playing that until I basically 100% it on critical mode, because Proud mode is too easy for me, and critical mode provides a fair bit of challenge. But you won't catch me doing a level 1 run. No, fuck that. Just fuck that. Number 2. Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, otherwise known as Generation 2. Gold, Silver, and Crystal are the ideal sequels to Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow. And that it takes the gameplay, expands upon it, balances it out, fixes the problems, irons it out, changing what doesn't work, in such, like, basically Pokemon is a bit like a rock, paper, scissors kind of game, where you have various types of Pokemon, like fire, water, grass, for example. Fire beats grass, grass beats water, water beats fire, and it goes in cycles, a bit like rock, paper, scissors. And, like, for example, in Gen 1 there was the Psychic type, which was OP as shit. And in Gen 2, they introduced 2 new types. They introduced Steel and Dark, simply for the sake of combating the overpoweredness of the Psychic type. Dark is strong against it and immune to Psychic, and Steel is very resistant to Psychic. For example, they introduced 100 new Pokemon, which is always nice, some of which actually are in the same evolutionary line as Pokemon from Gen 1, either babies, which are fucking stupid and useless, but fucking adorable, or brand new evolutions through giving them a held item and trading them, coming up with new ways of evolving Pokemon, which I don't mind. I really don't. It justifies why, oh, well, why do you have to, this is a later gen example, why do I have to level up Eevee next to a Moss Stone? To get a Leafeon, why can't I give him a Leaf Stone? Well then, why doesn't he evolve into Leafeon with a Leaf Stone in Gen 1? It's logic like that. That gave us these crazy evolutionary methods, and while it got out of hand in Gen, I think, 5, well, it got out of hand in later generations, but it works best here, and I guess in Gen 3. Probably best here because you had incenses introduced in Gen 3, and that muddled up the whole thing with breeding. Breeding was introduced. The special stat was split into special attack and special defense, which caused greater balance throughout the entirety of the metagame, the game and the metagame, so that Psychic types were even less OP. after you complete the Pokemon League, you get 8 badges and you beat the Elite Four, you can go back to Kanto, which is the region, the whole map from the first set of games. You can go there, you can go get all the gym badges there, and you can face Red, the protagonist character of the first generation, who is still probably the strongest non-battle facility entity in the entirety of the franchise, especially in the remakes where he's got like level 80 Pokemon. I may be wrong about the power of some other trainers. I think Barry in Gen 4 may come close, but I think his throne was usurped by Red again in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. But yeah, it's just Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal do so many things right. They take what works, change what doesn't. They add new things, but they add enough new, but keep enough the same. But it still feels like a brand new experience. It really is a whole new world we live in, and a whole new place to see, a whole new place with a brand new attitude. But we still gotta catch them all, and we gotta be the best we can be. And my #1 favorite game, Jak 3. Now, I wasn't kidding when I said I love platformers. Jak 3 is the final entry in the Jak and Daxter trilogy. Not the final entry in the series, just in the trilogy, because it's the #3. And it ties up the loose ends very nicely from Jak 1 and 2, mainly from 2. It takes the best elements from both of them, whereas Jak 1 was a strict platformer. Jak 2 was a bit too hard and had a bit too much gunplay. Jak 3 takes the best of both worlds. Still has plenty of gunplay, even more guns, and very unique platforming challenges with new dark and light powers that actually do wonders for progression. And the story, I love the story, coming off the coattails of Jak 2 and expanding upon it, seeing what's happened to Haven City in the years since the events of Jak 2, and finally learning some of the secrets about the precursors, seeing Jak grow more as a character, seeing the struggles of those in Haven City, finally trying to put down the Crimson Guard even after Baron Praxis has long since died, and even discovering who the precursors are. We also get to see the world build and expand through the Wasteland, which is a huge, sprawling place, which gave rise to new vehicle mechanics, which would be later repurposed into my favorite racing game, Jak X Combat Racing, which would have been on this list, but Jak 3 had to go up on here. I prefer Jak X to Mario Kart, personally, but the platforming feels very, I don't want to say tight, I don't want to say loose, I want to say just right. The gunplay is very well handled. You've got a gun for basically every situation. You've got your scattergun, which is a shotgun. You've got a wave gun, or rather a sort of a wave gun by means... my voice is getting really bad. A wave gun by means of you send a shockwave gun. That's it. You send a shockwave out around you. You get a grenade launcher. You get a straight rifle. You get a machine gun. You get an electric gun. You get heat-seeking little laser missiles. You get a fucking nuke. You get some crazy shit. Oh man, the game looks absolutely gorgeous. Just the Wasteland is big and empty, but and it's mostly monochrome, but I like the way it looks. It's a desert, but it's a desert wasteland. Wastelands are land of the wastes, and it's sand. There's nothing there. Spargus, I think, is a really nice city, and I think it's a cool concept that all the people that have been banned, exiled from Haven City, they now live there. They live in the desert. They've made this community for themselves with walls to keep the sandstorms out. They have people to go out and find relics in the sands during sandstorms, because sandstorms move the sand away from the relics and bury and rebury them later. You do get fairly interesting vehicle missions where you have to go inside of a metalhead nest with a big gun on the back of your vehicle, and you have to take out metalhead eggs. You have to take out the metalpedes, like the one that killed Sig in Jak 2. It's just, there's so much in this game. I think the story is really nice, you know, picking up the water bottle. Jak is exiled. He has to prove himself to these exiled people in this city of exiles. He has to rise to the occasion of this new threat that's coming to the planet. Except at the same time, he doesn't want anything to do with Haven City because it's the city that abandoned him, even though he is their hero. So he feels very bitten in the ass about it, understandably. But he's slowly learning that, yeah, he is a hero, and he has to really accept those responsibilities. The whole Jak and Daxter series is a series that, if you own a PS2 or you own a PS3, you owe it to yourself to pick up Jak 1, 2, and 3. And if you own a PS Vita, you can get the collection on that, but you're not going to have as good of an experience because apparently those are pretty shoddy ports. But I could just... oh man. The music too. I adore the music in Jak 3. I mean, it's a lot of it's very ambient music. Particularly in Haven City, but it just sets the mood so well for wherever you're in. What can I really say about Jak 3? Just go play it. Go play it now. If you have a PS3 or a PS2, get the trilogy now. They're fantastic platformers, and they don't cost much. So, yeah, those are my top 10 favorite games. I hope that I was able to articulate my reasons well enough to be coherent, and I wasn't just babbling the whole time. I'm doing this very off the cuff, and I'm doing this with very little editing, just so I can get this out and this video can feel more natural. So if you liked this video, then tell me, and I might do more top 10s or top 5s, like my favorite movies, or favorite TV shows, favorite consoles, stuff like that in the future. But for now, it is almost midnight. I did this very late, so thank you for watching this long video. It's almost 40 minutes long. And I hope you guys will stick around for content on this channel, particularly the Backlog and Lost in Reach, and more of these top whatever videos, top 5s, top 10s, if more get made in the future. Until then, I will be on Facebook and Twitter, primarily on Twitter. The NO7 Facebook page doesn't get used too much. Nothing really goes on. So yeah, definitely follow me on Twitter, subscribe for more content, and we'll see what happens in the future.